Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Lieutenant Colonel Nicholas J. Zaharevich, Commander of the 2nd Battalion, 205th Regiment, welcome to today's graduation ceremony. This ceremony marks the culmination of 15 days of rigorous and intensive training, testing these officer candidates' leadership abilities and potential to be Army officers. We are honored to have the following distinguished guests in attendance: Colonel Jack Mashallo, Washington Army National Guard Chief of Staff; Colonel Craig Broyles, Commander of the 81st Stryker Brigade Combat Team; Colonel Manju Vig, Commander, 223rd Regional Training Institute; Colonel Adam Rogers, Commander, 205th Regional Training Institute; Colonel Joshua Daly, Washington Army National Guard G1; and Command Sergeant Major Alton Huckabee, 205th Regional Training Institute. Commanders, senior NCOs, and friends and families of the 205th Regiment, thank you for your attendance today at this significant event. The Commander of Troops for today's ceremony is Officer Candidate Charlie Bam from California.
Platoon, attention!
Standing breaking body!
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the invocation and honors to the nation. Today's official party is Lieutenant Colonel Nicholas J. Zaharevich, Camp Commander of the Officer Candidate School, Phase III, Class 25001, and Sergeant Major Ian D. Birk, Camp Command Sergeant Major for Officer Candidate School, Phase III, Class 25001.
Present. Arm. Order. Arm. Parade. Rep.
Today's invocation will be given by Chaplain Tompkins.
Will you pray with me? From Psalm 91, I will say to the Lord, my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. God Almighty, all good, all just, and all loving, I praise you for the successes of these candidates. They have reached their goal. They have persevered and triumphed through the long days, long nights, the difficulty and discomfort. May they look back at their striving and see your hand at work in them and around them. May their training be a foundation for their first assignments. May the relationships developed here help to sustain them for the road ahead. May they be men and women who lead with courage, integrity, and self-sacrifice. God, I ask that these candidates would be ready to face the demands of tomorrow. Help them to uphold justice with grit and integrity. I thank you for their families and future families. May they know how to love and serve one another when faced with the demands of leadership. Thank you for the 205th and their opportunity to train these leaders today and tomorrow. Be with their leadership as they continue their task. Be with all of us as we walk forth from here, that we would have a mission to serve our neighbor and honor you for your glory and our good. Amen.
Platoon, attention!
Standing breaking body!
Present. Arm.
Please be seated. Officer candidates from 6 states are represented on the field today, having completed a rigorous OCS Phase III. The third phase of Officer Candidate School is designed to train, develop leadership, and evaluate officer potential. This is achieved through a tiered training structure using light infantry tactics as the instructional vehicle. Through these challenges, all of the candidates have persevered. They have demonstrated the technical and tactical skills necessary to successfully complete all missions to standard. Most importantly, they have proven they have the leadership abilities of a commissioned officer in the United States Army. Congratulations on a job well done. At this time, an award will be presented to the top officer candidate from each squad. Candidate John Winkler from Illinois. Candidate Amy Fair from Illinois. Candidate Justin Reinsdorf from Oregon. Candidate Cameron Cotterman from Illinois. Let's give a big round of applause to these candidates for their outstanding accomplishment. On behalf of the Association of the United States Army, an Army Saber is presented to the honored graduate. Officer candidates competed for this award based on their overall performance during this phase of training and the results of a leadership selection board. Lieutenant Colonel Zaharevich will now present the Army Saber Honor Graduate Award to Officer Candidate George Hayner from Washington. Let's give a big round of applause to this candidate for their outstanding accomplishment. Finally, we will recognize the DOT platoon trainer for their outstanding efforts during this phase. Will the following platoon trainer post? Platoon trainer, Sergeant First Class Dylan Warburton from Washington. Let's give a big round of applause to this cadre member for their outstanding accomplishments. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our guest speaker for today's ceremony, Colonel Craig Broyles, Commander of the 81st Stryker Brigade Combat Team.
All right, hey, platoon commander, as an infantry officer, I can't talk to you all like that, so follow him out and bring him up here in a horseshoe for me.
2, attention!
Steady freaking bodies!
So I've stood in a lot of formations, and my shoulder, I don't know about any of you, shoulders just kill you as you stand there, so I want to make sure you listen versus worry about your shoulder. Hey, first off, congratulations. Colonel Zaharevich, you're telling me that you got to do an air assault, or 2 of them, right? Yeah? Yes, it's going to go better if you kind of interact here a little bit. All right, I promise. So I want to tell you, so I knew a young lieutenant once. You know, he was, so it was JRTC, brand new second lieutenant, JRTC. Who knows what JRTC is? You all know what that is, right? Yeah. You know kind of what the situation was? So this young lieutenant, boy, he was excited because it was going to be a night air assault into Shugart Gordon. A whole battalion air assault. Imagine this, okay? At night, and they picked 1 platoon to lead the way. And there was this This guy's platoon. Oh, he's excited. Boy, he was so dang excited. So, boy, here they load up. You know, there's something about that adrenaline, right? When that helicopter's going, they're like, get on the bird. And boy, you take off. Been rehearsing all this. Get on that helicopter, and here they take off. All the squads, everybody's moving off to go do this assault. Man, just great. So all of a sudden, the helicopter lands. This second lieutenant, super excited, leaps out of the helicopter, ready to go charge the hill and win the day. And the helicopter takes off and leaves him. And he was all alone, right there by himself in the middle of the night. And as I stood there at that dark hill, looking as the helicopters left me, all alone, the only person that got off of that helicopter with me that night was the OC. And he goes, I bet you don't have any communication with that helicopter, do you there? No. And all I saw him is he got on this cell phone. Of course, it was like a sat phone in the day. He makes this dial, and I could see the helicopter in the distance, and I could see him all of a sudden, bang. And I have to turn around. Nobody told me there was going to be a false insertion. Nobody. Now, imagine, you've all heard the second lieutenant jokes, right? The lost lieutenant. Do you think I ever lived that down? Let me ever live that down? So I just want to tell you, no matter how it goes for you in your first assignment, you'll do better than I did. You'll never be that guy. So see, there you can just go now to your next assignment feeling better about yourself because you're like, I knew a person who did it much worse. So anyway, you won't be the lieutenant that jumped off a helicopter all by himself during the main effort on a night air assault in Shugart Gore and the JRTC. So anyway, we got that going. The other one I want to tell you about another lieutenant. A lieutenant did it much better than I. So, I'm the commander of the 81st Stryker Brigade. And our history goes back to World War II. So World War II, you imagine what that was. We fought in the Pacific. One of the places there, probably an island you might not have heard of, it's called New Georgia. In New Georgia was this island. And it was New Georgia's an island, but anyway, there's an airfield there, Munda Airfield. And if you don't know that, the Japanese were staging out of there, bombing. So if you're into that kind of thing, study, it's great. Anyway, our brigade went there to attack and seize that airfield. And if you've been to a lot of those Pacific islands, some of you probably have, they have those big, high razorback ridge lines, one right after the other. And our brigade had to attack across these ridge lines. And the Japanese had gotten in on the top of the ridge lines. Of course, they dug all these, really sophisticated pillboxes and with interlocking sectors of fire and machine guns. And as the brigade tried to take these hills, they just time after time took heavy losses and couldn't do it. And so they'd pull back and they'd launch all kind of artillery onto those ridges and try again. We're talking Washington and California and Oregon suns. They're just dying trying to take this hill. They tried again. Then they'd bring up flamethrowers and they would bombard again. Through the third time they would try to take this ridge. Again, the Japanese were just too dug in. They couldn't do it. Fourth time they tried. Finally on the fifth time, think about 5 times. How would your platoon sticks? Think about your 5th time doing the same one, and each time you go with a loss. They set up these 3 soldiers on a reconnaissance mission. Lieutenant Timniak, Staff Sergeant Norton, and PFC Cushman. Just to go on a reconnaissance mission and just to see what the situation is. Had many of been destroyed in the bombardment? As they moved up on that hill, Lieutenant Timniak noticed the Japanese soldiers in this front pillbox was asleep and wasn't paying attention. Now, he had a choice to make at that moment. Think about the choice he could have made. Probably sitting there with splintered bushes, trees everywhere, destroyed ground, probably bodies, all that. He makes his decision. He immediately leaps into action. He grabs a grenade, and him and those 2 others just start moving along those pillboxes and throwing, just like a basketball game, just hucking in grenades, one after the other, one after the other. They're pitching grenades to each other right over here, throwing in, and in 6 minutes, those 3 soldiers, led by Lieutenant Timniak, did what the entire brigade couldn't do in 5 days, and all the ammunition and all the artillery couldn't do. Those 3 people. That's who I want to be. That's the kind of leader I want to be. Think about that. Change the outcome. Change the whole thing because of these 3. And I often thought, what made Lieutenant Timniak who he was? So you're going to help me here. So the first thing I tell you, you know what? I bet Lieutenant Timniak didn't learn to do that. He learned to do that, right? He learned to do it. So one thing I guarantee, and your first piece that'll make you great is going to be coachability. Can you say it with me? Coachability.
Coachability.
Coachability. That was the difference between being good and great. Because I'm telling you, to get where you all are, one thing I know about each one of you, you're probably pretty good. You wouldn't be here wearing fixing to graduate, put on that second lieutenant bar, and you're fixing to go lead the sons and daughters of the various states you are, unless you were good. But here's the trap. Good is the enemy of great. Most people, they rise to a level and they just stop learning, right? I'm good. And they stop. They stop improving. And they never give themselves the chance to be great. And to go from good to great requires a willingness in each one of you to examine yourself and see what you need to improve. Because here's the secret, right? Up until this point, you can get away with just raw talent. But I'm telling you, I look down these my teammates here, Jack Mashallo, Adam Rogers, Josh J. You know what the difference in talent level between us? Man, that's hardly any at all. The competition gets fierce. At some point, the difference is small things. Small things. And that's why feedback is a breakfast of champions. When you come work for me or we're future company commander or whatever, the first thing I'm going to see is, are you coachable? So coachability. Say it.
Coachability.
Coachability. That's going to make the difference. Lieutenant Timniak, I guarantee, was coachable. He was a learner. If you'll do that, you have unlimited potential. If you are coachable, you cannot be stopped. You have no limit. You just have no ceiling. The moment you stop progressing is the minute you know it all. So I tell you, don't be a know-it-all. Because me personally, you come work for me and you're a know-it-all, I have no stomach for you. But I tell you, you're coachable, you have unlimited potential. So stay coachable. Okay, now the next thing, you got to be confident. I guarantee Lieutenant Timniak, he was confident. Say it with me, confident.
Confident.
I think one of the biggest weaknesses we have right now in our leaders is they don't have confidence in themselves. They just don't. Now it's interesting, can coachability and confidence coexist? I think it can. You get confident by preparation. Say it with me, preparation. Preparation makes you confident. Think about it. Think about a time that you were truly confident to go into a situation, test, whatever. Guarantee you prepared. Preparation will make you confident. Our officers struggle at believing in themselves. Right now, inside, you have the inside voice going on, man, am I really doing this? Right? Am I really going to be an officer? Am I really on? You got to suppress that. You got to believe in it, because here's what's going to happen. You're going to find yourself someplace, somewhere, and I don't know what it's going to be, because history is not destiny. Say it with me. History is not destiny.
History is not destiny.
It's not. I have no idea what tomorrow's going to be. Nothing's for sure until it's in the past. But you're going to be someplace, somewhere, leading someone's sons and daughter, and you have to make them believe. You do. They're going to look to you. You got to make them believe they're going to win because of you. What happens in the room when you walk in there? What is the feeling that happens? You have to set that feeling. There's no one else going to do it. You're the leader. Because remember, this is a little sidetrack here. You ever notice something? I don't, I'm sure there's a regulatory thing there. Isn't it interesting that you have a team leader, right? Team leader, squad leader, platoon, leader. And then company leader, company commander, battalion, commander. Brigade, commander. Division, commander. Well, what happened? What was the big change between platoon leader and company? There's a change there. What does that change? Because the leader's there. Company commander, battalion commander, brigade, it's too big. I cannot be at the point of action. It's too much. But you know who's supposed to be at the point of action? The point of the decisive moment? The leader. You're there. They win or lose because of you. They win or lose, and that's just the way it is. If you don't believe it, you're in the wrong business. So you got to be confident. You got to make them believe. Look at it. You have to look in your eyes, and they have to make them believe. Whatever it is, if it's a training vent, whether it's AT, whether it's in the jungles of New Guinea, like Lieutenant Timniak that day, they believed in their platoon leader. And last is willpower. Willpower.
Willpower.
Lieutenant Timniak had willpower. Folks, I'm going to tell you, things will only happen at willpower. If you're ever a Star Wars fan, I believe there is a force. And it's just freaking willpower. You have to will things into existence. And what do you will into existence? I follow my number one rule. You know what my number one rule is? Always do what your boss tells you. What's your number one rule? Always do what your boss tells you. What's the number one rule?
Always do what your boss tells you.
That's what I do. And I use my willpower and I make it freaking happen. I just will it into existence. And that's what you have to do. And Lieutenant Timniak that morning, that was sheer willpower. Just sheer willpower. And he changed the whole outcome. So I'm telling you, what is going to go from good to great? You got to be coachable. Say it with me. Coachable.
Coachable.
All right. You got to be confident. Say it with me. Confident. And you got to have willpower.
Willpower.
Coachability, confidence, and willpower will put you where it'll put you where Lieutenant Timniak was that day, when it all hinged on that one person and how many lives that he saved because he was coachable, confident, and had willpower. I'm telling you, we need you. You know, us here in this front row, we don't have much time left. And when I see you and what you're fixing to do, I have the utmost respect for you. But I'm telling you, you got to earn it. Because where our future depends on each one of you, and you got to be prepared. Because history is not destiny. You understand me?
Yes,
all right.
sir.
Congratulations. And no matter what you do, you'll never be Lieutenant Broyles jumping off an aircraft during the air assault. So you're already in a good place. You'll do better. All right. Hey, again, thanks for letting me talk to you. I'm honored to do it. Go to Ranger School. Go to Ranger School. All right. Go to Ranger School. All right. With that, thanks. I'll turn it back over. Class leader.
Step back, sir. Fall in.
Officer Candidate George Hayner will now present a gift to Colonel Broyles on behalf of OCS Phase III, Class 25001. It reads, "With appreciation for your insight and leadership, challenging us to think critically, train deliberately, and lead with confidence as we take responsibility as commissioned officers. OCS Phase III, 2025.
Hey, thank you. Hey, this will go on my wall today. My champion wall. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. What an honor. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of the Army Song. March along, sing a song, with the army of the free. Count the brave, count the true, who have fought to victory. We're the army and proud of our name. We're the army and proudly proclaim. First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might. And the army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won. And the army goes rolling along. And it's hi, hi, hey, the army's on its way. Count off the gate, it's battle strong. For wherever we go, you will always know that the army goes rolling along. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our ceremony. Thank you for your attendance and support.
Two. Attention!
Second breaking body!
Sir, this concludes today's ceremony.